Welcome to 0x Crypto Valley. I'm your host, Olivia, learning about the Web3 world.
Hi, I'm Chao. So I'm an economist, have a deep ties with crypto world.
Hi, Chao. How's your week this week?
Oh wow, it's very busy. So this week is the East San Francisco. So just like what we did for East Denver, we are very busy attending all kinds of events at the Bay Area.
Yeah. So a few weeks ago, we went to East Denver, which is a really big crypto Web3 blockchain conference. And this week, a similar event happening in San Francisco. I definitely feel a lot of energy. Some of my favorite events focus mostly about the AI agent. So for me, I'm really learning this differentiation between Web2 and the Web3 AI agent. Chao, how was your event experience so far?
Um, yeah, I feel like I keep learning all those new things. I mean, even at East Denver, I feel like I learned a lot. Then this week, I feel like my mindset has been upgraded to another version. So you can see the Web3 and AI, it just evolve or develop at a very fast speed. I think we're going to share our thoughts again for East San Francisco in the following episodes.
Yeah, I know you went to Phil Stanford event, and Berkeley is also really big hub for hosting a lot of blockchain and Web3
Mhm.
event. But this week, we would love to talk some very interesting new concept called RWA, tokenized real world assets. Am I saying this right?
Yeah. So we're going to talk about a very interesting, a very big use case for the blockchain technology, the real world asset tokenization. I can start with a very high level
Tell
definition
us
about.
what is the real world asset tokenization? This sounds like how can we bring real world assets on chain? I think that's overall ideology, right?
Yeah. So real world assets are the assets that exist in the real world and that are represented through a digital token on the
Hmm.
blockchain. So there's lots of real world assets. You can think about like the tangible one, like the real estate deeds. Also like the physical assets, like the artworks, the stocks, the golds, and some intangible ones like intellectual property or carbon credit, equity, or bonds. So there's lots of yeah, by our definition, real world assets.
Yeah, that's interesting. As someone like me, very new to Web3, and also as our audience who are also probably very new, trying to learn every interesting concept. So can you help me understand, for example, real world assets? You mentioned a few examples. Is this could be real estate assets, this could be a piece of artwork. They could be physical goods. They can also be intellectual property. But why do we want to bring them to the chain? Because like they are already making a lot of money, a lot of value to the people without on chain, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, so actually, there are several very important benefits if we could put those real world assets on chain. I think I can use a very specific example,
Yes. Can we use for
you
example,
can pick
I'm
one, like pick your
yeah.
favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, pick my favorite. So I'm really big art lovers. I love seeing painting in different gallery museum, but they are really special real world assets. They are very unique, just one, and they are super expensive, only owned by wealthy people. So how can we bring this on chain to democratize this to everybody? And also, why do I want to own something like this on chain? So when we say on chain, which means we bring tokenize this piece of work on blockchain, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I, I mean, I just hypothetically, I can see how we can make a good use of this
Yeah.
through the tokenization. So, like the artwork, I kind of treat this as a illiquid asset because if you want to sell it, it's very hard to sell it actually in the real world. You need to appraise it, the value. Then you
Mm,
need to go to through some auction market.
yeah.
Then have this auction process, then it could hopefully sell to some bidders. So you can imagine if you really want to like make this illiquid asset or get some money out of it or just change the rights of this property, it just take lots of process and very inefficient.
Mm,
But if you tokenize this artwork on chain, I can think of, for example, just like a NFT, or maybe just to put like 1,000. I mean, for example, fractionalize this property, like 1,000 people can own a piece of it.
mm,
Then it's actually a very different process and a very quick process. You just program it. I mean, just blockchain is kind of like a computer software technology. You program this thing, have an NFT token, like a certificate of the rights. You own piece of it. Then
mm.
some then I think it could become, it's already started a monetization process. Somebody, if they, I think I kind of go to the channel of the trade, how to treat like intellectual property rights. So if somebody use the image on chain for this art, they can pay like pay some fee for use of it. So that way
Oh,
you can make money. So that's
mm,
one example of
mm.
tokenize this artwork. And
Yeah,
you can also like use treat this as the collateral, then borrow some money on chain to do either investment or all kinds of things you need to do to maybe do some maintenance or just marketing broadcast. Yeah, whatever you
yeah.
want.
So it sounds like we are intersecting real world assets and chain also like kind of like a finance. I mean in Web3 is a DeFi. So there are a lot of finance and transaction benefit around that. I think that's very like similar. If I want to find something from Web2 world, can I say it's almost like buying a stock, buying a mutual fund, something like that? Would be that fair
Uh,
analogy?
yeah, I think that will ease, just try to make it easy for general audience to understand
Yeah.
this process. Just yeah, I think that for example, when a company in the Web2 world, they try to go to an IPO process. So that means they're going to sell, they want to kind of sell the company stock in a traditional financial market. Then you need to go through like underwriting. That's lots of process, get the approval from SEC,
Mm,
then eventually find the stock market, sell your product. Then the investor, either like the big institutional company or retail investor like us who want to buy the stock, we need to go through also certain process like a KOL, and also need to, I mean, for retail investor, we need to open a broker account. So that's what happened in the traditional market when you try to buy some equity, like in this case, stock. Uh, but in the Web3 world, when we can treat this very similar to like a ICO process, but
mm,
not exactly. So you can tokenize your asset or your company's stock and put it on chain. Then people, I mean, as long as they have the internet access, can
yeah.
buy your token. I mean, again, hypothetically, I mean, real world assets are subject to lots of regulations these
Mm,
days. So I'm just talking about a very ideal case. So in terms of technology, as long as you have the internet access, you are not supposed to be restricted by geography.
mm,
So any people around the globe can buy your stock, I mean, buy your token on chain. So that's actually become a global market, and it's
mm,
also like a 24/7 without stop market.
yeah.
Our traditional market like opened, I think it's a 9:30 to 4. I mean, for the New York Stock
So
Exchange and
it's
the Nasdaq.
limited time,
Yeah,
working time. Yeah.
also closed for holidays and weekends,
Yes.
but that's not the case for
Yeah.
our crypto blockchain market. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's
And
actually
even
a new generation of the financial market in my perspective.
yeah, and even though sometimes you go in there, I think the few thing you mentioned is super interesting. I just like for our audience, ICO initial coin offering, right?
Mhm.
Okay, I just wanna
Yeah.
like emphasize those Web3 stuff. So basically, what I'm understanding is first, like for example, traditional you're buying a stock, you are trying to involve some more sophisticated finance activity. It's actually very difficult because your location is the one constraint, your banking information, and you have to go through a lot of centralized approval process to qualify you into the purchasing power, which is not really equitable, right? But this is also very general to my learning in Web3 is there are a lot of open access. Everybody can participate. You are not limited by your country, geopolitical background, or you need to be verified or approved by a certain bank. So it's much more liberating. I think this
Hmm.
unlock a lot of accessibility to people who are all over the world. Just want to going back to that auction piece of artwork. I don't have to travel to New York, SF MoMA, to participate this live auction and or even need to be qualified to participate auction. So for me, as someone loving the art, I have my rights or privilege to access through blockchain real world tokenization. Is this like how why this benefit like consumer?
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, again, this is a very ideal scenario, but
Yes.
based on the blockchain technology, that's the case. So it can fractionize the property rights. You can pay a small amount of money on a small fraction of this asset, then you can either benefit from it or just use it as a using for your own purpose, like a branding or some other things. So it's actually bring access to more general audience so they can participate in the investment of different kind of assets.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very exciting. That's also relate to either Web2 or Web3. There is certain, financial liberation. Like you
Hmm.
shouldn't be gated or like by certain bank or centralized system to decide if you are qualified or not qualified. So overall, I think like very similar to DeFi, my concept is good for everybody's wealth building. So that's very interesting. I do really want to know. My understanding also just from we were at East Denver talking with a lot of RWA company. It sounds like they primarily focus like almost like B2B segment instead of like Web2. I mean, I can go to Fidelity to purchase anything as a user, but it seems RWA in the tokenized world is still very focused on B2B. That's also my understanding.
Yeah, because it's but I guess you again, it kind of like a tokenization or put something like into something investable that looks like a big work, lots of work.
Hmm.
Uh, that's I think that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope one day, like for example, this RWA become more accessible, like almost very easy to use, for like more consumer. I think like that's what happened in the DeFi space. Initially, it's really hard to do a lot of DeFi activity, but right now with Uniswap and other like new company emerging, so it's becoming much more user friendly. I hope like just like making RWA also eventually becoming much more accessible.
Hmm. Yeah, I think the current infrastructure, the technology has makes makes this process much easier and cheaper,
Mm,
accurate. So, and also like for the regulatory or legal environment, especially in United States, are getting much better. So I'm kind of expecting in the following few years, there going to be lots of like real world assets be put on chain, like tokenized and put on chain. Then for the general people that have more access to this kind of I think I kind of like have more choice than what's the situation years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really exciting. And maybe just want to follow up one question also, like my understanding. For example, once you own like maybe just for example fraction of that real RWA tokenized on-chain property, you are collecting some financial benefit through
Yeah,
like
in some case.
mhm, like it's almost like interest rate, not interest yield rate from Web2 if I'm
Yeah.
using analogy here.
You can think about when you buy again, I use like what people did in traditional financial market. You buy a stock. If this a company stock, if this company performs well, you will get some dividends out of your investment. So that's kind of similar in the DeFi world when you own some token like a real world asset token. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super clear. Yeah, I think that's everything. We are obviously, Charles mentioned, we are still in the very early stage, and there are still a lot of regulatory policy. I mean, in general to Web3. But that's a lot of things we have learned from ESTEM. Um, I kind of want to ask this question, like if you can own something on chain as a real world assets tokenized, what would you want to own?
I think now the most safer ones I can think of is like a stable coin,
Oh,
the yield bearing stable coin. So that's we in our very first episode we talk about the stable coin. That's I mean especially for those fiat backed stable coin like a USDC or USDT, they they actually it's backed by the treasury uh the treasury, the bonds, and the fiat money like US dollar. So that's actually very safe assets that backing them. Then you can earn some yields out of it. So I think that's I feel like in this volatile crypto market, so on those kind of stable, I mean yield-backed stable coin, at least a part of it is a very safe, it's a very safe investment option.
yeah.
Yeah.
I saw. I was thinking about something. I was thinking if there is a real world asset you want to own, what it would be? So I can maybe give example. For me, I'm really big sports fan, and I love watching Formula One. So if Formula One as a company can of particular team, let's say Ferrari, want to be on chain, and I would love to own part of this team. So that's
Hmm.
my there
Yeah.
are yeah, there
I
are
think that
business.
probably already, I need to double check. I remember some soccer team from
Mhm.
Europe that have something like that, but I need to double check. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So I think first as a fan, I'm going to be feeling very privileged as the owner of the Ferrari team. So just like sentiment wise, I feel connected. Second, I hope there are certain, financial benefit as the team growing and also the real world reflecting their value. So that's something I was thinking, oh, if I have to pick one real world asset I want to purchase, I would love to be a Formula One Ferrari team owner on chain.
Mhm. Yeah, we should suggest this to them if they're not existed already. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's also B2B. They probably need to work with a company to bring their business property on chain, right?
Yeah. Or a lab protocol, a team, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so how about the company we met at Injective? Is the company trying to help a real world company, let's here say Ferrari team on chain, right? There probably more process to be
Hmm.
need to be
Yeah,
done.
I did some research on Injective. So
Oh,
there, it's a blockchain. I think their focus is on DeFi. So I think
mhm,
that's a very natural fit for the RWA tokenization because it's when you turn this RWA into a token like a digital asset on the blockchain, you're going to need lots of infra support. And once it's a token, then you also need some distribution, channel or infra like a spot market or derivative market, I mean, in the traditional financial market term. So injective that have already a very mature or a series of mature DeFi market to facilitate the trading, the investment of such token. So that's yeah, I think they are very good at it.
So basically, company will work with like a company like Injective to help them facilitate entire tokenization and the process. So yeah, that's interesting. Like new business model, B2B RWA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great. Great. So that's everything today. Anything else, Chao, you want to like share perspective from like what do you think RWA? What's the future you are excited for?
I think for RWA, it's a huge potential market. I mean, every kind of RW assets, like a real estate or IP, they're all valued at $1 trillion units. So I think when I'm preparing for this episode, I read some report. Like currently, there are about $300 trillion RWA that could be potentially tokenized and put on
Really?
chain. So that's a huge. I mean, I cannot use the word huge. It's actually gigantic. It's going to change how the human society's economy so
Mm,
going to work. And it's not just like the relatively wealthy or richer people or developed country people have access to those kind of investment opportunities. It's actually everybody in this around the globe. So that's I think that's almost for me it's kind of like a revolutionary process. So I'm really excited to see how this is going to roll out in the next decades. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I really love the idea you brought here is about economy empowerment. So I think that's everything I learned about Web3 so far. Everything is about empowering individual and user to own things and to actually get that benefit from that ownership. This is very different from like Web2. Web2, like as user, as a creator, you really don't own many things. Your thing is owned by the company, by the platform you use. For example, the content that we upload is not owned by us. We can't really monetize directly. But Web2 companies such as social media, Facebook, and Instagram is monetizing your content. So I personally also very excited for this strong economy empowerment movement because like right now with a lot of technical advancement like AI and blockchain utilization is much higher. So I think people will be just elevated to the next economic stage.
Yeah, it's kind of like a paradigm shift. So it's actually a different way to. I feel like it's the next generation. It's really very forward-looking way of doing the business or how we handle many things. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, so as we continue to explore the world of Web3, especially right now, it's really about like a acceleration stage.
Mhm.
So even though if you look at a lot of higher economy climate, you don't feel this acceleration. But for Chao and I, we are being in San Francisco, the energy is very different than a few years ago. Definitely rely on a lot of change in AI and also more open-minded into the crypto and blockchain world.
Yeah. It's actually a very vibrant environment here. We are getting the energy every day. So just to follow us and we will share our journey with you.
Yeah, so it's about the journey. I'm continue exploring, and Chao continue to sharpening her knowledge. But we want to bring the latest information to people who are new to Web3 or people you already know a lot about the Web3 world. So I think we will be able to give you a lot of information there. But yes, so that's today's episode. Focus on RWA. Follow us on Twitter and engage, ask us question. We don't know about everything, but we have the same energy and drive to learn and to explore with you.
Yeah, we also just have a new YouTube account too. You can find that on our Twitter account. So just follow us. Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Okay. See
See
you
you next
next time.
time. Mhm.